today we are going to be talking about the expectations for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The brand new Toronto Maple Leafs with the addition of John Tavares. With no further ado, everybody, let's dive right into it. The main thing that we are going to be focusing on today is the incredible pickup of John Tavares. As most of you probably know, the Toronto Maple Leafs signed John Tavares to a 7-year, $11 million per year, $77 million cap hit at the very beginning of free agency. This addition is going to open up so many new opportunities for this Leafs roster. Now, the Maple Leafs are going to have one of the best offenses by a large amount in the NHL. They're going to be up there with the Tampa Bay Lightning as far as offensive output and goals scored per game. We also have one of the best top 3 center cores in the entire NHL. Tavares, Matthews, and Kadri. That is absolutely deadly and terrifying. Teams are going to be scared to go up against that. They are also going to have one of the scariest offensive trios in the NHL in Matthews, Marner, and Nylander. The incredible, universal, young, talented, deadly goal scorer Austin Matthews, the stunning, fantastic, talented playmaker of Mitch Marner, and the lethal, fast sniper of William Nylander. That is going to be absolutely insane. Matthews, Nylander, Marner, Tavares, Kadri, Brown. Holy cow, dude! That's insane. But is that going to be enough to make the Toronto Maple Leafs a Stanley Cup contender? Let's find out. Even though the Toronto Maple Leafs have probably one of the best offenses right now in the NHL, they also have a lot of problems on their roster and a lot of areas that they lack in. I'm going to go over a couple of them today to prove the point. The first one being one of the most inconsistent goaltenders in the NHL. Okay. Now you guys can go full fanboy all you want about how Freddie Andersen is the best thing to ever happen to this franchise, how he's one of the best goalies to ever live, how he's one of the best, how he's the new Carey Price. I don't care, okay? If you cannot admit that he is one of the most inconsistent goalies in the NHL, you are either blind or stupid. Take your pick or agree with me. The last 2 seasons, Freddie Andersen has been bad at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season going into the playoffs. And, okay, I understand that every single goalie is going to be bad at the beginning for the first couple weeks. Sure, I understand that it's rust. But Andersen is inconsistent for the entire... But Andersen is bad for the entire month of October, and sometimes that can even stretch into November. Not good. And at the end of the season, in the last 2 seasons, he has fallen apart and he has not been good enough for us in the playoffs. Will I admit that 35 plus shots against average is a horrible statistic for a team to have? Yes. But will I also admit that 40+% of the goals that Freddie Andersen allows are soft and weak? Soft and weak, everybody. How many times have you heard the announcer on Leaf videos, on Leaf games, say, "Oh, I don't think that should have been a goal. Okay, that's a goal that Freddie Andersen should have had. Okay, that's a goal that should have not went to the back of the net and smashed that mesh." Exactly, bro, yeah! And you wonder why Freddie Andersen isn't even considered for the Vezina Trophy. The second reason is horrible defense. I'm sure you've all heard of it. The Toronto Maple Leafs have probably one of the worst defensive units in the entire NHL. And that should basically be a fact by now. have already mentioned the 35 plus shots against average statistic. There's many other ways why this team is horrible defensively, whether that be turnovers, not being physical enough in front of the net. Anything you can think of, this team has been bad at once upon a time in these last 2 years. Jake Gardiner is horrible defensively, but is good at producing points, as he just recently got 50 plus points last season. Ron Hainsey is not good enough defensively. He's pretty good at blocking shots and penalty kill, but that's about it. And he has never been known as a guy that can produce a lot of points. Last season, he got 20 plus points in 80 games. That's pretty good, but that's above standard for Hainsey, and he's probably not going to get that amount in next season. Nikita Zaitsev is good for the penalty kill. That's about it. Travis Dermott has great potential offensively, but he really needs to increase his defensive game if he is going to have a hope in hell of having a serious impact on this blue line. Because we have guys that can score. Look at Jake Gardiner, look at Morgan Riley. We already have guys that can score. We have Timothy Littlegren over there in the minors, just like, hey, just waving his hand, waiting to get put on the lineup. We already have enough offensive scoring talented defensemen. We need a strong defensive shutdown. You can't pass, like freaking Gandalf. You can't pass type of defender, okay? And no offense, but Nikita Zaitsev is not the type of. And no offense, but Travis Dermott is not that type of defenseman. He can get you points. That's about it. And Connor Carrick is not exactly fantastic defensively, but he's not exactly fantastic offensively either. He's kind of like the middle of the stick type of guy. He's a really good prospect in my eyes, to be completely honest with you. We have a couple good prospects in the minors, specifically Timothy Littlegren, but we don't really have any great prospects in the minors that are great defensively. I thought Loverde was pretty good defensively, and I also thought Renat Valier was pretty good defensively. Besides that, there's a couple guys that haven't really proven themselves yet, but I think those are the two guys, defensive-wise, that could potentially make an impact next season. We also got like 4 defensemen in this year's draft who could potentially make an impact someday, but as far as next season, I don't think so. The fact of the matter is, the Toronto Maple Leafs have multiple massive holes on their defensive line that need to be fixed, and able for them to be truly considered a contender. And I pray that our new GM, Kyle Dubas, understands those issues and addresses them. My conclusion: with the fantastic addition of John Tavares, the Maple Leafs should be able to climb that hill known as Boston and take permanent possession of the second overall spot in the Atlantic Division. The Leafs have an outstanding offensive unit on paper, but their inconsistent goaltending and massive holes on defense could potentially haunt this team. Sure, they do have 2 scorers on the blue line in Morgan Riley and Jake Gardiner, who both got 50 plus points last season, which is absolutely astounding. For a team to have 2 defensemen that score 50 plus points, is absolutely insane and outstanding, and something that you will want to have, and something that is going to help the depth of this team in the long run. However, we are not the Oilers. We cannot score our way out of trouble. We might be able to now that we have John Tavares, and that was our plan last season and the season before that. But we cannot rely on goal scoring to get us out of problems like we have the last 2 seasons. We need to defend. We need to block shots. The only guy last season that was actually decent at blocking shots was Ron Hainsey. Everyone else did not block that many shots. Not good. We need more shot blockers. Also, I want to talk about Hainsey getting put back together with Gardiner. Do you guys remember when Riley was injured last season? The coach put Gardiner up on the first line with Ron Hainsey. It was incredible. Gardiner was firing on all cylinders. Hainsey was back there just like, you do not pass. And Gardiner was just free to go and score some goals because he knew that Hainsey was out there defending his back and that he had his back. Riley is not terrible defensively. He's not exactly great defensively, but he's not a liability like Gardiner is. What I think is we should put Hainsey with Gardiner permanently so that Hainsey can babysit Gardiner. And I do not mean babysit as an insult to Jake Gardiner. I am saying that if we put someone with Jake Gardiner to defend his back and to protect him from his turnover and defensive mistakes, I think there is a high chance that Jake Gardiner is going to get all that pressure taken off his back and he is going to be free to score goals all day long. We saw what happened when he was with Hainsey. And honestly, when Riley came back and he was put and Gardiner and Hainsey was separated, I was honestly quite sad because of how incredible those two are playing together. So I would love for that to happen. Another person I want to talk about is Andreas Borgman. Andreas Borgman came onto the lineup off of training camp at the end of last season's training camp, and he immediately was great. He was not making any of those usual rookie mistakes that you'd expect out of a rookie like him. He was making actually veteran moves. He was making great plays, and he wasn't a liability defensively like Travis Dermott is, like Jake Gardiner is, etc. Also, he was physical. I love that about him. This team, this blue line, is lacking physicality. Morgan Riley, not very physical. Gardiner, not that physical. Hainsey, not that physical. Roman Polak, pretty physical, but he's gone now. Nope. Zaitsev, not physical. We do not have any physical people on this team. I say we bring Borgman back up, give him another chance, and let him be that physical presence that Polak was for us. The question is, where would he go? If he plays on the third line, I highly doubt they're going to be taking Dermott out of there. The problem, Dermott and Borgman are both left-handed. However, Dermott played the majority of his time with the Marlies on his offside. I'm being honest. He played the majority of his time on his offside. That tells me that he feels comfortable playing on the side that he should not be comfortable on. In fact, Borgman and Dermott is not something that the coach hasn't thought about in the past. We've seen it before, and I would love for that to get brought back together. To conclude, I will give you my predictions for the offensive lines, defensive line, and the goaltenders. Offensive lines. I think the first line is going to be constructed of Hyman, Tavares, and Nylander. Tavares is going to be on the first line. You could have Matthews up there, but come on, Tavares, he needs to be on that first line, man, come on. And I think Nylander should be up there as well. And I like Hyman on that first line. It's like a lot of people don't like Hyman because he's not a goal scorer, which I have to admit, he's not. He is a playmaker. He is someone who gives it 110% every single play, every single shift, every single game, and he will get that puck to the goal scorers. I think placing him with Tavares and Nylander is going to open up so much space for those two snipers. Going on to the second line, I have Marlowe, Matthews, and Marner. I like this line. I love this line. I can't wait to see this line if my predictions are correct. Matthews and Marner, we saw it before. The coach has tried it before. I loved it. I thought it looked incredible. I thought it looked super good. I have to admit, I'd love to see it again. And Marlowe, I can't see him being on the third line, but I also can't see him being on the second line. You could have Marlowe on the first line and Hyman on the second line. That is a possibility. But I think I like Hyman better on that first line. But that is just my opinion. Going on to the third line, we have Johnson, Kadri, and Brown. This line, I love this line. This line is awesome. This line is so cool. My goodness, guys. Johnson was an absolute nightmare in the Calder playoffs. Holy cow. For those of you that actually watched it, Johnson was an absolute nightmare in every single game. I think he was actually the lead scorer for the Marlies. That was insane. Absolutely insane. Also, Johnson kind of reminds me of Brown. He's constantly giving it 110%. He's constantly hunting down that puck. He kind of reminds me of like a goal-scoring, more talented version of Connor Brown. Also, the speed that Johnson brings to the table is absolutely insane. Johnson is just so fast. Like he's like so fast. He's like a roadrunner. Like that. I bet you that Johnson's spirit animal is a roadrunner. Alright then, going on to the fourth line, this is a bit of a tricky one for me, so I'm going to give you guys a couple options, and you guys can decide in the comment section down below. So, on the fourth line, I have on the left winger position, Armstrong, or Tyler Ennis, or Kirby Reichel, or Marchment. I'm going to give you guys these four options. The Toronto Maple Leafs are so stacked on that left wing, all four of these guys can honestly make it. I would personally love Marchment or Armstrong. I think those two are so talented, those two are so good, and those two are just going to bring a lot of depth to this team. However, I'd have to say the most likely one would probably be Tyler Ennis. We just recently claimed Tyler Ennis off of waivers from the Minnesota Wild. So, the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs actually signed this guy, claimed this guy, off of waivers, telling me that he is probably the most likely to be on that left wing. Middle, I am going to be center position, I am going to be putting Altonen. Altonen shocked the world last season, he shocked the AHL. He was absolutely insane for the Marlies on that center position. He was on the first line. Absolutely insane. I think he will slip in perfectly at this center position on the fourth line and give him a chance to prove himself. Sadly for Altonen, I can't see there being a chance of him going up to the third, second, or first line. Solely because Tavares, Matthews, and Cowdy are just too good. And then going on to the right wing position, I am putting in Kasperi Kapanen. I am super excited for this. Kapanen, he's so fast, his playmaking ability is insane. I cannot wait for Kapanen. He's going to be great. I cannot wait to see what he can do for this team next season. Moving on to our defensive pairings, I have the first line, Riley and Zaitsev, second line, Gardiner and Hainsey, and third line, Dermott and Borgman, or Borgman and Dermott. However you want to do it, I think Borgman and Dermott would be better, but like I said earlier, Dermott is actually quite comfortable on that right-hand side. Going on to goaltenders, this one wasn't really that difficult, and I'm pretty sure you guys guessed it yourself. Freddie Anderson and Curtis McElhinney. There was also a chance of Calvin Pickard or Garrett Sparks coming up from the Marlies, but I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that until Curtis McElhinney's contract ends or he retires. Until then, especially considering how good McElhinney played when he did play last season, I can't see him getting taken out. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Sorry for a bit of a big long video today. I had a lot to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And honestly guys, I would hate myself if I didn't do this to wrap this video up. He's coming home! He's coming home! Tell Tavares that he's coming home! Let the rain wash away on the Tavares of yesterday! guys, thank you everybody for watching. This was Armstrong Hyper Sports here, back again to bring you some more sport content. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button and smash that subscribe button so you do not miss out on my next video and the little bell next to it. Thank you everybody. Goodbye.